So Davy Fitz back to Waterford. Well, that was unexpected, and that was certainly a turn up for the books. I mean, when Liam Cahill stepped away as Waterford senior hurling manager, you were thinking, okay, there's going to be, who's going to be the next man to come in as Waterford senior hurling manager? Derek McGrath, a former Waterford manager himself, was very much in the running, and he probably would have been most people's preferred choice. Although, I don't always like when you see county boards going back to previous managers. I do like to see fresh ideas, new men come in, new ideas. But Waterford have taken it to another level. They've gone way back. Davy Fitz, new manager of Waterford, the man who, of course, led Waterford to a Munster senior hurling title in 2010. He also led them to their very first All-Ireland final. Well, not their very first. Their first All-Ireland final in 45 years, back in 2008 in his first season as manager. It's an intriguing one, and certainly for Waterford fans in the comments down below, I'd be interested to see your opinion, your thoughts, and who you believe or whether you feel this is actually the right appointment. I've made my reservations known about Davy Fitz in the past. I'm a big fan of Mr. Davy Fitz. I think he's a quality manager. I really do. You look at what he's achieved as a manager. This is a guy who went into the Waterford manager at a difficult time. They obviously had lost their manager mid-season. Back in 2008, Justin McCarthy resigned, so they had to go for something a bit different. Davy Fitz goes in, having just retired as a player only about a year or so previous. Comes in as manager, and instantly there is an impact. He gets them to an All-Ireland final. Sure, they didn't win it. Sure, they were absolutely trashed in that final by Kilkenny, but it was a significant achievement. And to get a Munster title as well a couple of seasons later was a big achievement for Waterford. And he goes on to Clare. He wins Clare's first All-Ireland since 1997. He's obviously a Clare man true and true, and that was undoubtedly a significant achievement from a Clare perspective. Goes on to manage Wexford and wins them a Leinster title as well, once again ending a long drought for a Leinster senior hurling title as Wexford manager. So been successful at every county he's gone to. He knows how to end droughts. There are some pros and cons, and I certainly do get the cons. I mean, I do think that there is sometimes baggage with Davy Fitz. He can go off on tangents in interviews. You don't really know what he's going to say next. You don't really know what he's going to do next. He's very unpredictable, and he's a very fiery character. And I know for a fact there's even probably going to be people in the comments down below who are not going to be happy with Davy Fitz's appointment. But I think it's a good appointment. I really do. It did surprise me, to be honest. I didn't think Waterford would be in for Davy Fitz. I always felt like Davy Fitz would take the opportunity to manage Waterford. I mean, why would you not? Like, you look at the quality of those players. Desi Hutchinson, for me, is one of the most skillful players in the country. I think he doesn't get the recognition he deserves, in my opinion. Probably because Waterford were knocked out early in the championship this year. But I think he's an unbelievable hurler. I really do. I think he's one of the best hurlers in the country. Austin Gleeson, fair enough, he is getting on a bit, but he's a top class hurler. Still plenty of years left in the tank, and when you get him on the ball, he can do serious damage, whether he's playing further up the pitch or even further back on the pitch. So he's an extraordinary player. You've got Stephen Bennett, Jamie Barron, in midfield. Stephen Bennett's obviously a very good player. Caleb Lyons has looked very good in the last couple of seasons. You've got a lot of very good players and a lot to work with. Good underage players coming through there at Waterford. But it does feel like now or never a little bit with this Waterford side in terms of this group. Like, this is, for me, the best Waterford side since they won the All-Ireland. Jesus, what was it, 60 years ago now at this stage. This is their best team. And whilst Limerick are hugely dominant, and to be honest, it doesn't look like anyone's going to be beating them anytime soon. For Waterford to, I always find when you have great teams, you have some of your best hurlers that you've ever produced. You need to win something. You need to be successful. And I think for Waterford, fair enough, they won the league last season. Whip-de-doo, congratulations. But for Waterford, they want the top honours. They want Munster titles. They want All-Irelands. And, I think you've got a born winner in Davy Fitz, and you've got someone who has achieved success as manager as both Wexford and Clare and also Waterford in his first spell. But there are some question marks, aren't there? And, he's going in there. He obviously left Waterford for Clare the last time around, and you can understand it, given the fact his ties to Clare and given his his ties to Clare as obviously a player, having won 2 All-Irelands, as a player in both 95 and 97. So, there are some interesting question marks, I would say, over Davy Fitz. The style of play that he has and Liam Cahill has. I mean, under Liam Cahill they did play a bit of a running game, but again it was a lot quicker. I don't think they'll be as, I think under Davy you see them be a lot more defensive at times as well, and I think you will see Waterford adopt that. So it's going to be intriguing, and it is going to be interesting. I do think the running game will work to a certain extent, because you see Caleb Lyons, who loves to play that type of game, whether he's playing in midfield or right half back or whatever position he's playing in. And they have a lot of good players, like Jack Fagan, very good player as well. Jack Prendergast, I think, is very good. So, Waterford have the talent and they have the players there. But question mark is for Davy Fitz is, for me, this is his toughest job since coming in as Waterford manager, in my opinion. Or this is his toughest job in management. I think when he came in with Waterford in the first spell, I don't think there was really any pressure at all. It was very unknown, and no one really knew back then what Davy Fitz would achieve, and he got them to an All-Ireland final, and then obviously got them to a Munster title. Going in as Clare, sure, being a Clare legend, there was a little bit of pressure, but Clare hadn't really been anywhere near All-Irelands in the years leading up to 2013. I know they'd had a bit of underage success, but he came in there and delivered and won an All-Ireland. And did Clare really kick on after that? Absolutely not. And that will be definitely one of the question marks, I think, about Davy Fitz's management, is kind of the years after he achieves success. But again, he goes into Wexford where there's not a lot of pressure again, to win a big title. Sure, they have a lot of stars and they really needed to capitalise on it. But again, there wasn't a huge amount of pressure. If they had a loss to Kilkenny in that Leinster final in 2019, I don't think it would have been, like the end of the world for Wexford as such. But then again, he delivered. So, but going in here as Waterford manager, there's pressure. There is pressure, in my opinion, because they have a really, really good team. As I said, some really, really talented hurlers. And given the fact that it is Davy Fitz and sort of the name, and there's going to be a lot of fans that I think will be against it. There'll be a lot of fans that are for it. There's a thin line with Davy Fitz. A lot of fans love him. Some fans hate him. So, he's going to need to hit the ground running. And after last season as well, the disappointment that I had with, obviously getting knocked out in the Munster round robin, and Liam Cahill since leaving, going to Tipperary, there's going to be pressure there, in my opinion, on Davy Fitz to succeed and to achieve as Waterford manager. And by being successful, I think he needs to win a Munster title and possibly even an All-Ireland. But again, it's so hard when you have this Limerick team that are so dominant. It's going to be intriguing, I think for Davy Fitz. I don't see him being there longer than 3-4 years max. He's not a man, unless he's somehow successful and keeps winning All-Irelands or does something that nobody expects. But it is intriguing, and certainly for Waterford fans in the comments down below, I'll be very intrigued to know your opinion. As I said, I'm a big fan of Davy Fitz, and if I was to put my neck on the line, I think he will be successful. I think he will win a Munster title, but it's very hard to say, to see Waterford winning an All-Ireland next year when you've got a team like Limerick that are around at the minute. I mean, if they weren't as good as they are, you'd say, yeah, I think Davy Fitz will achieve and he will bring All-Ireland success to Waterford, because he's a man who knows how to win, who knows how to be successful, and for sure he's not going in as Waterford manager to just win Munster titles. Like, he's going in there to win an All-Ireland, mark my words, you know what I mean? Like, that's what he's going in there for. So I think the big question mark is, can he deliver? Can he come up with a strategy to stop Limerick? No one has, obviously, over the last 3 years. The only manager who has beaten Limerick in the last 5 seasons in the championship or in a knockout championship game has been Brian Cody. As Kilkenny manager, we very well know now that he is not going to be there next season. So it's going to be very, very intriguing. You look at the Munster Championship next year, by the way. Liam Cahill, Davy Fitz, John Kiley, Pat Ryan going in there as Cork manager, Brian Lohan in there as Clare. You know, you're going to have Brian Lohan against Davy Fitz, which is going to be very intriguing. You're going to have Liam Cahill going up against his former manager, or going up against his former county in Waterford that he managed. There is a lot of very, very interesting permutations about the Munster Championship next season, and I cannot wait for it, even though it is about, Jesus, what? It feels like about 10 years away. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Davy Fitz as Waterford manager, good or bad appointment? I think it's a good appointment, but I do think there are question marks over it. And I think if, you know, he needs to hit the ground running, in my opinion, next season. I don't think he needs to win a Munster title or an All-Ireland, but I think a Munster final, an All-Ireland semi-final, and, you know, like good hurling, clear progression needs to be made. Otherwise, you know, it could turn sour very, very quickly. But, you know, I back Davy Fitz. I'm sad he didn't come to Dublin, to be honest with you. I really wanted him to come here, but maybe we didn't offer him enough money. I don't know. But in fairness, it's a no-brainer. You know, you're going to Waterford to try and compete for All-Ireland. You're coming to Dublin, which is, in all due respect, a rebuilding job. And, you know, at best, you might win a Leinster title. You know, but we're not going to be winning any All-Irelands anytime soon. Let's be perfectly honest. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts, your comments down in the comments down below about the appointment of Davy Fitz. Are you happy as a Waterford fan about this appointment? And for any neutral fans, Clare fans, or even Wexford fans as well, who've obviously seen Davy Fitz as their manager, what are your thoughts on this? I'll be intrigued to know what Clare fans think as well, because I know there have been some Clare fans that have, you know, that actually have lost respect for Davy Fitz in the last couple of years, which does surprise me, to be honest, given what he has given to the county. You might not like the man, but look, he's achieved All-Irelands. You know, he's won an All-Ireland as manager, player. He's hugely successful. But, you know, I'll be intrigued to know what Clare fans do think about this. Does it leave a sour taste in your mouth? The fact he's gone back to Waterford. I know Waterford and Clare aren't as big as rivals as maybe Clare and Limerick, let's say, for example, but you know, they are one of your Munster rivals, and he is going to be competing against you next season. So, you know, and trying to stop Clare achieve what they're trying to achieve. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. My name's Aaron. Do subscribe if you haven't already. And, yeah, stay tuned for more videos coming soon. I will be doing a video reacting to all my GAA predictions from 2022. That should be out in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you all later.